My jam is relationships. Everyone's like,
Cool.
oh, this county working with them is so hard. It was not the case for me. That is my jam. That is my jam.
Go.
I find out at a granular level who are their best friends that are people, not builders.
Yep.
And I say, hey, can you introduce me to this guy? And it'll be the inspector. So
Hello, you're listening to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, presented by Brandon Elliott. This show will be going over all aspects of real estate investing and is intended to educate, motivate, and prepare you to take action on your first or next real estate investment. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Thank you for listening and enjoy.
What's up, everyone? It's Brandon Elliott with Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. Hope you guys are all having a blessed day. We have Cody in the house. Got started with Wholesaling Inc. back in 2016, exited in 2020 with a partner, which is awesome. We're going to talk about the pros, the cons, the indifference behind that a little bit. But then lately, since 2019, Joe Homebuyers started doing that and actually have been focusing on more high-end spec building homes, which is pretty incredible because the numbers you were just sharing with me a moment ago are wild. You know, put $2 million in, pull out $3.5–4 million after. That's not a bad day at all. And I know that doesn't work in all markets, but you know, you're in the Utah market right now, right? So probably not exactly in your backyard, but who knows, you know? So for anybody out there that doesn't know who you are, where you're from first, you mind just giving that 30,000 foot view for the listeners?
Yeah. First and foremost, so my name's Cody Hofhine, guys. Super excited to be here. Kind of high level, married, 4 kids, 4 no more. I make sure no more kids. We joke, we don't really mean what I'm about to say, but we call them our little dream killers. But they are not. They are actually an addition of value in our lives. We love them dearly. 17 years old, 15 years old, 12 years old, and 8 years old. So we are busy people. You'll always see more family stuff behind me than you'll ever see business stuff. I believe when you take care of home base, business just starts to mirror that. So I'm really big on family. Yeah, entrepreneur has been in my blood. I grew up kind of with that entrepreneurial blood. My dad was an entrepreneur. He was a general contractor, built a lot of commercial stuff here in Utah. I was able to be part of that from like 8 years old on the job site. No, it wasn't like sweat labor or child law, any kind of abuse there. I loved it. He got us involved early and I fell in love with it. And I fell in love with his calendar and his schedule and being able to go on vacation and things like that. And so I tested college for a little bit, hated that. That was very quick exit. That was probably my fastest exit I've ever done in my life. And then got into entrepreneurship in 2010 when the shift in the market happened and it hit a little bit later than everyone else. It hit about 2009, end of 2009. It wasn't 2008 for us in Utah. And it shifted my dad's business literally to almost a screeching halt. And so that's when I got into entrepreneurship. Fast forward, I've built and sold an insurance agency, and then built and sold a coaching program, built and sold a digital marketing company, and then also have done an exit on a wholesaling business. And now here we are building Joe Homebuyer, which is it's a franchise. We have about 100 franchisees nationwide that I hate using the word business in a box, but it's kind of like the fastest way where you can tap into proven systems, processes, but something over and above that, I believe is one of the best communities that you'll ever be involved in.
Man, I love this. I didn't even realize until, you mentioned a couple of things here. So you've built and sold numerous companies at this point. You know the process from beginning to end. You've had a lot of learning, I'm sure, with some of these exits. So your very first learning. Yeah, the never ending. So your first one, it was insurance. It was. Okay. And that was around the 2010 you got into it, or?
2010, I got into it, and it's a great gig if you're in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
I just wasn't passionate about selling insurance. Let's be honest. Like, it was so hard for me. It was easy to sell insurance. It was hard for me to love the product I was selling.
Yes.
And so I built that up, and in 2015, I went home early. So here was the gift, kind of like what people would say, maybe this the turning point. I came home early from work, and I was always working late because you have to sell a lot of insurance to make money. Like you're only getting 10% commission on a $500 policy. You got to sell a lot of those.
Yeah.
And so we're getting good at that. We're good with mortgage companies, but yeah, there was months that were still just short. I surprised my wife. I come home early. She's crying at the table. And I remember just asking, I can remember exactly like the position she was in. I can remember the feeling I felt. And she looked up after me asking like, what's wrong? And she says, do we put food on the table tonight so the kids can eat, or do we pay the mortgage that's overdue right now? And I'm thinking, I'm 5 years into this gig and we're still having some months where there's more month than we have money.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, I've been going to real estate investor associations since 2011.
Yeah.
But I never listened to real estate. I always listened to the person saying, I have 4 rentals. Instead of caring to learn how to get 4 rentals, I said, oh, there's 4 policies that I might be able to insure. Like, incredibly one-sided going through this process.
Like it's right in front of you, but you have a different mindset for it. I love that.
Punching me in the face. Like, it is like, and I'm still like, oh, a policy, let's go. So 4 days, within about 3 or 4 days of that incident of my wife crying, I go to the real estate. I went every single month. I was one of the people that sponsored and talked about insurance. So I get up. I didn't get up. I'm sitting in the audience, but a new set of ears because we don't have money.
Come on.
Guy stands up, talks about how he just wholesaled a deal and it made him 29 grand. He did it in 4 days. And I'm sitting there thinking, that would change my life. Like that. Yeah. That could be something good. So I didn't know how to do it. I went up to the guy that talked about it. I insured all this stuff, so I knew he was telling the truth. Yeah. And he says he wouldn't teach me. I was literally like dumbfounded. I thought, oh, this guy loves me. I take care of him. He'll teach me. He's like, dude, you're one of the most driven people. If you have the blueprint, I'm screwed. Like, I don't know if I dare to teach you. And so it was a little bit scarcity mindset, but at the same time, that doesn't stop me. So I found
there was actually, do you realize that for me personally, I realized that there was actually a lot of that back then.
Oh, scarcity was crazy. Wholesaling Inc. is what broke the mindset of like, I think everyone hates us as coaches because they're like, dude, it's because you scumbags teaching everyone the blueprint. Like, I hate you. Yes, crazy. We broke the mold. We broke the mold. Everyone with scarcity mindset. We were like, you listen to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast and they're like, some people never bought our program because they're like, hey, I learned how to do my first deal by just listening to your podcast. I'm like, come on. Yes. Awesome.
Yes. So good.
Yeah. So I hire a mentor, ended up being what was my future business partner, Tom Kroll. Yeah. He teaches me how to do my first deal. He gives me like the blueprint. In 39 days from the day I saw my wife crying, I do my first deal. It pays me $24,000. I still get goosebumps when I say that because it was game-changing. It was so game-changing. It was such a need at that time in my life. I wish I could say, oh man, it's because I just knew how to serve people and solve problems and I got a paycheck. No, I was in dire straits. It was like, I need money because we are not being able to pay for our mortgage. So we do that. And then for 2 years, I still ran the insurance agency, grew up a team, led them how to do it so I can continue focusing on doing this. 2016, I end up being half owner of Wholesaling Inc. We grow that to where we coach about 3,500 students nationwide and then sold that in 2020. 2017 was my first exit. That's when I sold my insurance agency saying, I'm going all in on this. Coaching was at its highest. It was crazy awesome. The podcast was the #1 in the nation. Yeah. It was the #1 in the real estate space. This was before Bigger Pockets got hot. Yeah. We were the people. And then we were like #2 in the business category. The only person we couldn't knock out was Dave Ramsey. He had that thing on vault, like lockdown. And so we did that. We grew that. 2020, we made an exit on that. So that was the second company. But yeah, fast forward today, 2019, we started Joe Homebuyer because we really wanted to help people build a business, not just do their first deal.
Yes, that's so good. I love that. I love like breaking so much just like out of society and like that old stigma of like there's not enough. I got to hold it to myself and start teaching people and making like that's a big freaking impact helping that many people, which I love. So exiting a coaching company, what does that look like? How's there's a lot of learning curves to say the least, right?
There is, because that was my second exit. At least there was repeatable income with insurance. So it had a multiplier attached to it. Yeah. It's everything that goes above EBITDA. Coaching, if you don't know what a private equity group is actually looking for in a coaching program and you build it according to their buy box and you just build it thinking I'm just building a coaching program. Well, we built the coaching program and it was completely opposite of the buy box of a private equity group. We were the faces. Yeah. That's a problem.
Yep. That is a problem.
We were the ones hosting all the calls. We were the one hosting all the podcasts. Yep. We were the product. Like at the end of the day, our program wasn't the product. We were the product.
Yep.
The success wasn't tied to anything more than us because we were the voice for everything in the whole program. It wasn't repeatable. It wasn't scalable. So I want to be crystal clear. You guys are probably like, exit, dude, this guy must have killed it. We did okay. But we did not kill it, guys. It wasn't a massive exit. I can't say the number. We still have ties, but it wasn't great. It wasn't big. It wasn't massive. You couldn't retire. I'll put it that way. You couldn't retire, but it was fun. It was a great exit, and I couldn't be more excited about who bought it. I couldn't have planned better than Brent Daniels owning it. He has done a fantastic. In fact, I believe he's doing better than us. I love the guy dearly, and he's just getting better and better as a coach, and that has been absolutely fun to watch.
That's so cool. So what actually sparked the interest of selling back then? You know, I love how your heart's in the right direction. Like, these guys are going to take it further and do better and so forth, which is great. But what had that pivotal change? Did you guys start it initially from the beginning? Like, hey, we're going to build this to exit?
No. It was more of the opposite. That probably is a complete curveball to that question. And here's the answer. The answer is, me and Tom are dear friends, but we're also two visionaries. And it's like having too many chefs in the kitchen. It doesn't work. So we got along, but there was a point where his vision was this way, my vision was this way. And there wasn't right or wrong. Like, he was right because that's what he wanted to do. And I was right because this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
I wanted to grow businesses. I didn't want to, he saw regulation was going to start happening. This was back before anyone even knew regulation was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, it was starting to have talks, but nothing was happening. He was kind of like, oh, I don't want to get caught up in this regulation. I want to get caught up in lawsuits. And I'm sitting there thinking, no, we need to double down and help people actually turn this from a one deal to like, how do we scale this to a business and help them grow in leadership and grow a team? And so he didn't want anything to do with that. The easiest way was, hey, let's keep Wholesaling Inc. in its best form and what it's been. And that's helping a beginner like find their first deal. And so we left it at that, and we both sold. Still dear friends. I'm speaking at his event in October in Nashville. So I want to make sure I'm crystal clear on this podcast. We're still dear friends. It just didn't work because two visionaries were running the company, and there got a point where it's like, okay, you do that, you're right. I'm going to do this, and I'm right. And we followed our dreams.
I love that. Yeah, you definitely need an integrator to have that kind of match.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. Like you as a visionary already surprised me. Like, you're like, I'm going to connect this to Facebook and I'm going to do this. I'm like, oh man, I would be screwed if I had to do it. I was about asking.
They trained me well, dude.
Wait, does Zoom allow you to connect to Facebook? I didn't even know it even had that capability. And you're going to probably be like, no, you don't. You have to have like Zapier or something.
Yeah. The team trained me well. It's good.
Good.
I feel proud now.
Hey, bro, you're one step ahead.
So talk to me. After the split, that was in 2020. 2019, you already started Joe Home Buyers, right? And is that with a partner as well?
Yeah, so that's been the business partner that we started our wholesaling company in Utah. Then we expanded to Dallas, Texas. Then we expanded to North Carolina. We had to test in different markets. We had to test and see if we could do it virtually.
Yeah.
Challenges come with virtual. So I'm not here to say virtual is still the way. Like, Joe Home Buyer is not built to build virtual markets. In person still outpaces the person that's doing it virtually. Still, we have data that proves that true and true. But we wanted to see if our model could work in another market. And as we did that, and we found out it worked, we were able to then start introducing it to close people. And once we saw that it really, it started with being actually a mastermind. It's called Scale. We'd have them out at our office, teach them for 3 days. They'd go back and implement. And some of these people were going from 6 figures to 7 figures. We're like, man, we're on to something. We had a master out on our Lake Powell boat, our houseboat, and we'd have fun stuff. Like, this is when it gets fun. It's like we had a 5-star chef, and it was so like, it's just so fun. And you're having this great experience surfing behind boats and all this fun stuff. And then you're having this deep discussion, and people were just winning at a high level enough to be like, okay, it works. Like, now let's go. Cause we didn't want to make something, sell something if it wasn't going to work. That's just not,
for sure.
That's just not who we are. Yeah. So once we had that, 2019, we sold our first franchise. Brent Daniels actually was our third franchise. Brent actually converted his to it. Do you know Jerry Norton with Flippy Mastery? He owns 10 of them. So he's like the OG with YouTube. He owns 10 of them. Like, incredible people are part of the community, but it's so fun. Like, I don't want to make this about a like arrogant, like, oh man, this is where we're doing good. It's been so fun. Like, Joe Home Buyer has been the fulfilling point of like taking this from a get your first deal to actually helping people change their lives, because one deal does not change anyone's life.
Yes.
So basically, changes someone's life.
So you took your original vision and you kept going with it. You just did it in a different fashion, which I love.
Yeah, and the franchise is set up in a perfect way because we don't win unless they win.
Yeah. So what does the franchise look like now? Because at this point you have what, 100 franchisees?
Yeah. But 100 franchisees nationwide. As for like high level, what does that look like?
Yeah.
What I didn't know, because I wasn't the integrator and I didn't have some of these like granular mindsets,
Sure.
this rich data. So when we were just a single operation, you only have whatever the operation's producing. But when you see nationwide 100 different territories putting together into the same CRM that's our proprietary CRM, but we have access to it, I think the number one thing that I love about Joe Homebuyer is this, because it's tied to what I believe is the number one skill set of an entrepreneur, and that is being able to pivot. I think so many people, it's like hunger or consistency, all important. It's probably an arguing point where you could say, yes, those things are just as important. But in life, how many plans have me and you had to do as you're executing your business? It's like every week you're coming up with a new plan, a new idea. Yeah. And it never goes to plan. Ever. Yeah. I've never had a plan where I'm like, holy crap, I made a perfect plan. It actually worked 100%. It's never been that way.
I say that all the time.
Most people do build a plan, and when it doesn't work, they kind of just give up. They're like, oh, maybe this isn't for me. Oh, God doesn't want me to have this. And I'm like, bull crap.
Yeah.
You weren't willing to pivot on your current plan. Your current plan just wasn't perfect. You expected it to be perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect plan. And when it went wrong, you gave up. Yeah. But what you needed to do was you needed to pivot. And so I believe the number one skill set is being able to pivot. Because we have this rich data nationwide, we're able to pivot now at a quicker speed than when we were just a one-time operation. We're able to see real time what marketing's working nationwide. We're able to see real time what conversations, what allows people to say, oh my gosh, yes, I want an appointment set up so that you guys come out. We're able to see real time what is the driving metrics. Something I'll give away to your audience that we ended up making that I want to give to your audience is just, what are the KPIs? What are the key vitals your business needs to follow? We're able to see this because we have so many more all this rich data points from 100 different territories that tells us this is where it's going, and we're able to pivot faster than when we were just a single operation.
Cody, you said it so well, it's crazy. But I talk about it all the time, especially for real estate. With anything, though, it goes this way of like, hey, you had plan A, and then when that didn't work out, because it never does, then you just jumped, instead of B, C, D, you jumped all the way down to the last, Z, and you got all crazy, or you just gave up. And when you actually are just driven and like, when there's a will, there's a way, you're just going to put that mindset on and run with it. Man, there's power behind not giving up. Dude, I love that.
1,000%.
So right now, like, you guys are just capturing a ton of data, having all these other franchise, which is data is like that's really the meat and potatoes, right? Like, that's what makes a company very valuable at the end of the day, correct?
Yes, data. And then again, it's that seeing around the corner, right? Headlights only see what, I don't know, just 30 yards is 100 yards. I don't know what it is. But when a road bends, no one can see that. But I think that's another skill set that's necessary, is seeing around the corners, what is coming. I would say the other part that I really, really love, besides just the ability to pivot, is community. Community is everything. I think it is a lonely road. Me and you run. Entrepreneurship is one of those things. When I got into it, I'm like, oh man, we're going to attract all these people. And it's like, yes. And you can also attract a ton of wrong people. And so you got to protect yourself and guard your mindset. And so there's some people that you can't let in your life, or some people you got to get rid of that were in your past life. Sure. If you want to scale to the next level. So community it's something that I always have to make sure that you are the average of the 5 closest individuals you spend the most time with. Jim Rohn has said it best, and this was so before our time, and he nailed it, because we as entrepreneurs already have a small circle. It's already a lonely road. So when we had Joe Homebuyer in our mindset, we're like, we have to protect culture. We don't just sell franchises. Almost look at us like this is a bold statement. I got to be careful how I say this. It's like the Chick-fil-A model. It's like, I don't know if you're familiar with the Chick-fil-A model. We've studied it like crazy. It's like 10, 15, 20 interviews to get through this, and you're fighting against 50 other people for that territory. And it's they just can't let anyone in, because culture is massive for them. But it is for us. Culture is massive. So have we sold franchises to the wrong people before? We have. We thought we were making the right decision. Are they any longer with us? No, because we protect culture so much that we took it back. And so culture's everything, so that when we get together, and we get together often, because I think humans need to connect. I think COVID was one of the most damaging things that has happened to our nation, because
100%.
people we're not connecting, and we're meant to connect, and we're still feeling the symptoms as a result of COVID-19. Let's hope there's not a freaking COVID-19, where you walk and everyone's heads down and no one wants to say hi anymore. And it's like they're buried in this. Even if they're really buried in this, really what they're doing is avoiding conversations. And we're still popping out of that. Not a Joe home buyer. Like, we meet together often. We gather together because when you're in a room of winners, there's only one thing you can do, and that's win.
I love that. I couldn't agree more, brother. That's awesome. Talk to me, but let's dive deep into these spec homes, man. High-end spec homes, crazy numbers.
I came across this, by the way. You're gonna be like, well, how do you even do this?
Yeah.
So where do you want to go with that one?
Yeah, I mean, tell me, how'd the idea come up? Why this, and how are you getting these numbers? What locations? All the details.
Yeah. Just for the record, it doesn't work in Salt Lake. We're in a small city called St. George, Utah. You don't move here for a job. I'll put it that way. You move here because you're either an entrepreneur, or you've exited a business, or you're a high level executive working for a business that allows you to work from home. Like, it's just high caliber people that are moving here. And it's so funny. There's like zero comps. Like, when you're doing like comparables and say, hey, what should this house sell for? It's all over the place. It's really $450 a foot to $750 a foot. And where's it going to fall? Who knows? As long as you just build the home, when the guy says, I have cash to buy a home, and they want your home, there's no comps. There's no appraisals. There's nothing, because they don't need appraisals. They're paying cash for their home. You just have to build a home that someone wants, that has cash to buy a home, that wants that second home. Maybe it's their first home. Maybe it's their third home. We have a guy that has a 20,000 square foot home, like 2 baseball throws. If I chuck hard, maybe 5 baseball throws. Yeah. But you chuck them hard, 20,000 square foot home. It's his 8th home.
Oh my gosh.
Like, this is insane to me.
Yeah.
So what happened is, as a result of building my home, I office out of my own personal home. I built it in a way that it's away from all of like the living quarters, but yet it's connected. You have to go through the basketball court to get back here.
Cool.
So we build it. We're all in about 2.2 if you count. I put a golf simulator. I should probably turn this around, like in between calls.
I mean, you have to. You have to.
Yeah. It's just what you do.
When you're at 2, you just put the other.
Why not do 2?
Yeah.
So we did it where it's like a resort backyard. Like, we went all in.
Let's go.
Well, we get an appraisal and it's 3.5. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, this is insane. Then my brother builds a house. He builds it for 900. And then he realizes he can sell for 1.5. He lists it on the market. He sells it. And I'm like, and what happens is, I think you got to be careful, because you got to know when to distinguish between like what's going to be a distraction and what is an opportunity. I think there's too many people that think everything's an opportunity, and I'm not that guy. I said no to the 99 versus the one that is sinister. Yeah, everything aligned for this. My dad retired. My brother and him were partners. And my brother's like, what's next? Because we moved down here to St. George, so I don't have the clientele like I had up north. Sure. I'm like, I'll tell you what's next. There's a $1.5 million spread on my home. Like, why don't we build another one of these? So I bought a lot 3 doors down. He is phenomenal at running crews. So he's running a crew on this home. We'll be into this about 2 million with an exit of about between, I'd say 3.2 to 3.5, because we have 3, if you want to call them cons, we have 3 homes that just sold for 3.2 to 3.5 that are literally, like, I'm looking at the house right now. If I look out this door, they're right there.
Crazy.
And so I'm like, we're just going to go do this. So I've actually bought 3 lots down here, and then we get funding from other people on the rest of it, the actual builds. But yeah, we're excited about that. And I wouldn't suggest, because you're hearing this on the podcast, that this is done anywhere. If I was in Salt Lake, there's no way on God's green earth I'd be doing this. This is not a model that works everywhere, but it sure as heck works in St. George, Utah.
Cody, even for your area right there, like, if the comps aren't kind of backing it up, or it's all over the place, like, I'm glad it is working, which is great, but
it's not scientific.
Not typical.
It's not typical. Like, me and you know enough about real estate that you're like 9 out of 10 times you're like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
Dude, this is the one time when it's not stupid. It's just like,
it's stupidly working.
Yes. Like, all the builders that are doing these same things. We had a guy that built for 4, sold for 7.5. And I'm like, wow. Am I missing anything why I shouldn't be jumping in this game?
Yeah.
Here's the best part. They all go to my church. And so I'm able to just sit there, like, guard down. We're at the same church. And I'm like, dude, like, you're doing this stupid, not getting into this. He's like, dude, you're crazy if you don't get into this. I'm like, okay, now talk to me at my level. Like, I'm just doing this one. Here's what I did in my home. He's like, yeah, go build your home yet again, but instead of living in it, sell it. And I'm like, so do you lose in these deals? He's like, I haven't lost in 20 years. I'm like, and they're just talking to all of them. And yes, they have to get smart. They have to pivot. That's the number one. We talked about this.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, no, there's something unique. There's a sweet little spot down here, and people moving here that have money.
I like that. So thinking about the end buyer in mind, because they have the money, right? You're not caring about the numbers. They're just going to throw it down if they fall attached to it, right? They want those areas. So everybody's got slightly a different taste to a certain degree.
For sure.
What do you for that end buyer, how are you kind of customizing it towards them or finding who that's going to be?
Yeah, this is not a typical rehab. Like you're building these things up where they're gorgeous. You're doing a lot more trim work on the walls. You're adding tile on a ton of walls. Your bathrooms are gorgeous, top notch. Obviously, you're doing quartz, but you're never buying a slab that's cut in half. You do not have seams on houses like this. Like you get the massive, massive, massive slabs that very few companies will install, but it's like you do it right. You go Wolf appliances that are probably 75 to 100 grand to package out. You have to do things right. Your lighting costs more, but then there's areas that you can't overdo. It's no different than a fix and flip. You see some fix and flippers like, oh, I'm going to make this awesome and doll it up. It's like, you just over improved it. So there are areas where it's like you can do some flooring where it's like you don't have to go high end because there's so much flooring that looks so good, but you do not do crap. You don't do cheap.
Yeah.
But there's some things you got to go over and above. Like you can't do LG appliances. You got to do Wolf. Like you got to do Sub-Zero. You got to do something that says to the wife, this is the kitchen I'm cooking in. Like this is going down.
Yeah.
The showers, the master bath, the master closet. Those cannot be little. They've got to be where people walk in like, oh, I don't even have clothes that will fill this, but this is amazing. You got to get up to date with the design. So the number one parade of homes probably in the Western United States is St. George, Utah. It's better than the Salt Lake one and the Utah County one. It's phenomenal. So every single February, the number one parade of homes is here. And so you build that spec to be done around the parade of homes when there's 60,000 people. You don't have to enter in the parade of homes, but we're right next to a 20,000 square foot parade of home. Well, this builder's the number one builder down here. So we're like, let's just follow where success follows. So we're building a home right by him. I'm going to put the biggest freaking balloon everyone's any seen on a top of a house that's going to say for sale, come walk through, like open house.
Come on.
Because there's already going to be 60,000 people walking through these homes. And I bet you I can pull 40,000 of them over to my home because of just the traffic that's already naturally happening.
Yeah. And good marketing like that too. I like that.
Oh, I'm going to go nuts. Like people are going to be like, who's this idiot? And I'm like, that's me. I'm that idiot.
And you're buying it. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Wait till you see it, sucker.
Yeah, man, that is so cool. I love that. So you guys are doubling up. How long is it taking with like permits or city? Is there any kind of pushback or is it pretty?
That's my jam. My jam is relationships. Everyone's like, oh, this county working with them is so hard. It was not the case for me. That is my jam. That is my jam. I find out at a granular level who are their best friends that are people, not builders. And I say, hey, can you introduce me to this guy? And it'll be the inspector. So instead of trying to like doll up the specter and like say, hey, what kind of drink do you like? Hey, what kind of snack do you like? Yes, we do that. And we leave coolers full of stuff for all of our subcontractors. We leave coolers for our inspectors. But more importantly, it's like I never go through the front door to meet someone. I'm always going through the side door. Meaning, this is one, if you guys are listening to this to your audience, always be introduced to someone. Don't try to break the ice yourself. It just doesn't make sense. So I always find someone that is a friend with them. Say, oh, dude, this guy's a builder. He's awesome. You got to meet him. His name's Cody Hofhine. Like, oh my gosh, those are kind words. Thank you so much. Josh, I've heard so much good things about you. Would love to connect. Love to take you out to lunch. And it's no longer Josh the inspector that maybe got picked on in high school and is ready to raise hell on you during all your inspections. Now it's like Josh, my friend, and he's like, dude, thanks for lunch. And it's like, hey, anything I can do to make sure I make this as easy as possible for you? Because I want to make sure I'm following your rules, not my rules. And they just melt. They just tell you everything. Yeah, do this, 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 this. We did a 4-way on our personal home, and he goes through and he says, you passed. And I'm like, that's impossible because there's never 100% pass on 4-ways. Like this is, so I'm like, maybe surprise. I need to go look through my own home, find some flaws because they passed me.
Wow.
It's because relationships matter. I love deeply connecting with people, and I can do that better than most. Like, have a fun. If I pulled up my phone, you'd see all the celebrities where I'm like, dude, we got to go meet him. My wife's like, no, we're not doing that again. I'm like, oh my gosh, we totally are. We had dinner till like 2 a.m. with Joel McHale, not a massive celebrity, but he's on the Community. He's a comedian. He ended up meeting, like we met him. I got back to where he was. He's like, you're not supposed to be back here, are you? I'm like, nope, but I had to meet you, bro. And he's like, well, where's your wife? I'm like, out there. He's like, bring her back. And then we end up going out till 2 a.m. He locked down a restaurant in this hotel where no one could go. And we just sat with Joel McHale and we were there till 2 a.m. It was the funnest night ever. It was,
Come on.
this is the dumb stuff I do. I sang to Coolio in first class. He was sitting in front of me and I sang through the chair when I saw like the pantyhose with the hair through it.
Yeah.
And I started singing Gangster's Paradise in his ear and he turns around. He's all, shut up. And the seat next to him was open. He's like, come on up here. So I sat with him the whole rest of the flight in first class, sat with Coolio, talked with him. I do this dumb stuff all the time. I love it. I love the challenge of it. I love connecting with people. I love becoming people's best friends. It's like my jam.
That's so good, man. I love that. I've actually had a mentor tell me years ago, probably about 10 years ago now, he would always, anybody that he wanted to connect with, he would have like an assistant or usually a woman, but anybody else to kind of make that introduction. And it's just a different approach. It's a whole different approach versus like you coming up and trying to be nice and
Fanboy.
yeah, it's like they don't want that. You're going to get a whole different type of experience when, you know, you come off in a different angle of like, hey, like mutual friends saying like, hey, you got to meet this guy. Like you guys are going to connect well. It's going to be great. You know, that's a whole different type of feeling that puts their guard down. And then you guys can really work together and do amazing things. Like you said, getting a first time pass on the inspection, it's like never happens, right?
It doesn't happen. I'm like, this is actually scary. I need to walk through my house now.
Yeah, now you have to actually hire on like a private person just to check, right? Yeah, I love that, dude. So talk to me, you know, building out leadership within some of these companies, these businesses, it's not easy. It is your jam, right? Building these processes and actually like building relationships. So talk to me, what are some of the things that you've developed and noticed as you're building some of these companies and really sharpening your tool for learning how to communicate better and actually build these relationships strongly? Is it just a God-given gift or
no, who I am today is obviously not who I was yesterday. I mean,
Sure.
I believe in the whole point of progress where we should be progressing every day. 1% is all we need. We don't need to be 1,000% tomorrow, just 1% tomorrow. You learn that even in Atomic Habits with, James Clear. Fantastic book. 1% marginal gains every single day in the areas that you want to gain in. And I think there's quite a few areas. So I know you love acronyms. So let me share a couple acronyms that I think would really connect with your audience. That is just breaks it down to its simplest form of how you can lead a team. Let's just use the word lead. So everything is tied back to our core values, our actual culture. So for our family, for example, our core values are humble, honest, hopeful, and heart for others. So those are words that are around this right there. At Joe Homebuyer, it's all the same values except we replaced hopeful with hunger, because that is a unique characteristic that we cannot train. They've got to bring hunger. Meaning, someone's a 5 in their hunger. Yes, I can get on a phone with people and motivate them and sell them on a vision. And they're like, oh my gosh, after talking to Cody, I'm a 9. The problem is when I get off the phone with them, they fall back to a 5 until they do the work themselves, get hungry enough to get out there and become a 9 by themselves, not get motivated to a 9. That's why motivation is never the answer. It's just a tool to help them see who they can become, but most fall back to their level again of comfort. So lead, let's go to it. So whenever I am correcting my team, I use this simple model. It's always tied. Like if you called anyone at Joe Homebuyer Corporate, everyone knows our core 4 values. Everyone to a T knows it. They would never say, you know, I don't know what our company values are. You would never hear that from our team. Years ago, yes, you would hear that. Not today. So I'm always going to correct anything that I see that is against our values by using the value. So L stands for list the actual value that they broke. So let's say you're talking on the phone with someone and you're like heated up on the phone with one of the sellers or someone in general. I would make a note of it. I don't put out fires. I'm not a firefighter, so I don't put out fires because I know I'm going to be meeting with you next week. I don't like meetings to have meetings. Meetings are very much set them up, don't set up more meetings than you need to. It takes a very good meeting to beat no meeting at all. So I'll just put a note of it. I'm going to talk to Brandon next week because he got heated up on the conversation. That broke one of our values, heart for others. So I'm going to get on there and say, hey, Brandon, last week on Wednesday, I marked a note. There was a conversation. You were pretty heated up. Can you give me a little bit of clarity behind it? I'm not going to scold him. I'm not going to say you're wrong in doing this because maybe there's context that I'm not seeing. I just want to make sure I'm hearing it. Can you give me some context around it? You give me context around it and say, okay, so here's the thing. One of our core principles is heart for others. And so when I was hearing that, I just felt like we were breaking that core value because we really do love these people if we want to do business with these people.
So good.
Brandon, let me tell you, and I'll go to E now, an experience where I did a similar thing. Now you're getting vulnerable saying, I'm not perfect either, bro.
Yeah.
I've messed up before because I think so many times leaders think I've got to be perfect because if I, like, that's who I am as a leader. No.
It's almost the opposite.
Yeah. Very much opposite. Vulnerability is the deepest form of connection. Get vulnerable with them and show that you have failed miserably in the past. So I say, listen, let me share an experience where I did that. I was on a phone at the beginning when I used to do the exact same position you're doing right now. I was on the phone and this guy was being a complete prick. Like there's no other word. Like, yes, there's stronger words, but this guy was just so rude to me. And I was biting my tongue. I hang up the phone. I sit it down. I looked at my business partner and say, that guy was the biggest prick I think I've ever talked to in my life. I hear scrumbling. I look down. I forgot to push end on the phone call. He's still live on the call. He heard every word that I said about him. And this worker in front of me is like, I'm like, yeah, I learned something that day. Now you go to A, D. Now you go to A, awareness. Here's something that I learned during that moment. First and foremost, even if the guy's rude, I don't need to say rude things. I learned today, just take the high road and let karma do your dirty work, but still love people. The second thing I learned is it's guaranteed that guy's never coming back to do work with Cody Hofhine because of the way I treated him. Help me. What did you learn as you did that thing on that call on Wednesday? And help see that they had some kind of a reflection learning moment. And then D is discover. Help them discover a new way to take care of that next time. So next time when someone gets heated up with you, what's a better way for you, Brandon, to react to that and help them discover the way? So that's just a simple acronym.
That's so good.
List the value, share your own personal experience, the awareness, the learning that you got from it, and help them discover a way.
Yeah, that's so good. I love that. Over the years, learning how to just better develop leadership and making sure that you're really empowering people, calling them out on the BS so, they stop that, right? But also really empowering them it hasn't been easy. It's definitely like a tool that I'm sharpening on a regular basis to get that 1% better. But that's a great example right there. I love that.
Tied to values. Everything's tied to values. It has nothing. It's not like I'm mad at you, and it allows you to be vulnerable and share when you've gone along at a similar experience.
So good.
And they're like, oh, I can get better because Cody's better.
Yeah. Come on. I love that. You had another one, riches, right?
Riches is my favorite. And how we came up with this freaking lights me up, bro.
Come on.
What is more for my family? So there's nothing worse. My kids are good kids. So it's going to sound like my kids are entitled. They are not entitled kids. They really are great kids. But we caught them one time saying like, we're rich. And I'm like, we are not rich. Mom and dad rich. You aren't rich, bro. You're broke.
Yeah. You got no money in the bank, champ.
Like you're broke, bro. Let's be completely honest. And so we're coming home, me and my wife, we do a quarterly in Vegas where we stay at a Hotel Alara because there's no casino and there's no smoking. I hate the smell of smoke and I hate casinos.
Amen.
This hotel specifically doesn't have either of them. So we went there and we'll do a quarterly. And we rent this beautiful room that's surrounded by windows.
Yeah.
And we use that as our whiteboard. So we bring dry erase markers and we use the windows to map out our plan for our family. So we use all the windows and we're like, what are we going to do over the next 90 days? What are our goals? What are our focus? Okay, now what's the blueprint to make sure that we happen? Like, what are our rocks that are going to move the family forward? On our way home, we come up with this formula called riches. And it was to help them, each one of our kids, and now I use it in my personal coaching, my private coaching with people that are like, let's say 6 figures, but want to get to 7 figures. I use this same formula now. Riches is 6 areas, because it's 6 letters, of where we need to put focus. Now, when I say balance does not mean equal time. It just means being present with the time that you have in each one of these areas. When you're a dad, be a dad. Like, put this freaking thing away and be fully present. Like, don't bring this home and be like, oh, yeah, that's awesome, sweetheart. and then you're scrambling. Like, no, be fully present. So it's not going to be equal time. My wife doesn't get equal time as my business. Business sometimes gets more than my wife gets. And so, but the time that I'm with my wife, I'll be darned if this is going to be in the way. Like, no way.
Fully present.
So fully present. Here's the 6 areas with riches. R is relationships. What are you doing each and every day to nurture relationships? It doesn't mean you have to do 3 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. You don't have that much time in the day to do it. But what's a simple 5-minute text? What's a simple 1-minute audio to someone that's on your mind that you can just simply nurture that relationship?
So good.
What is a text you can send your wife at noon? What is something you can send to your kids, letting them know you love them, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing to nurture relationships and to spend at least some time and being fully present during that time on your relationships? I is income. Yes, we need to be producing income. That's part of life, period, the end. So yes, do we have to go build a business? Yeah, we absolutely. But I make sure my presence is being very good with my time at the activities that drive the most revenue.
Sure.
So I'm not sitting there looking at email. No, I hire an executive assistant that goes through email and then tells me which ones I need to respond to, because I'm not going to go look at 80 emails. That doesn't make sense. Someone runs my Instagram so that when there's a conversation, they qualify them before I talk to them. Like, it's just things that I make sure I use my time for needle moving activities, period, the end. So income. C is your character, and I'm talking intellectually and spiritually. So what are you doing what skill sets, what time are you investing each and every day? I call it my power hour. And that is 1 hour a day that I'm trying to read something, listen to a podcast or an audiobook that is training me on the skill that's going to help me break through to get to my next version of myself. So at like a $500,000 business, most people that I coach at 500K, they don't know how to delegate and lead a team. Well, then your power hour should be on books on how to lead a team and how to delegate.
Come on.
Then you get to like 3 million. It's usually about surrounding yourself with A players. They don't know how to get the right team on board. They still are playing with the same C players that they got back in the day when they were a C leader. But as you develop into an A leader, you need to now attract A players. You can't have the same C players on the board.
Amen.
So there's just different things intellectually and then spiritually. I love God dearly. It doesn't matter what your guys' belief system is. What's your higher power that you're at least connecting each and every day? Are you spending time reflecting, meditating, speaking to God? Whatever that is for you, for your higher power, are you spending some time during the day to do that? H is health, and I'm talking physical and emotional. So physically, are you spending, for me, move my body 45 minutes a day. That's a non-negotiable. And that's Saturday, Sunday. That's 7 days a week. Like, give yourself the gift. I hear too many people say, I would die for my family. I think that's honorable. I would too. But how about live for your family? Would you go to the gym for your family? Will you eat better food for your family? Will you do the things that make you have a longer life for your family? Like, let's live for our family. Let's not die for our family. Very few of us will ever have that experience where we have to die for our family. So let's change that mindset and say, let's live for our family. And I know the heaviest weight to the gym is the front door. Get past it. Like, go move your body.
So good.
Health and then emotional health, right? How many people do you still see like the same emotional, like strength, resilience when they're a 16-year-old in high school?
Yeah.
They get cut off and they're like flipping the birds and they're doing all
You
this.
gotta get that healing, man.
Yeah. You're still 16 years old. Like, come on, bro. Like, grow up. It's time to go. Like, what are you doing to find peace even when the world doesn't bring you peace, right? E is experiences. What are the experiences you're having with your family? What are the experiences you're having with your team at your office? What experiences are you doing for yourself to take care of yourself?
Yeah.
Experiences are everything. When I lost my mom 3.5 years ago to cancer, bro, that changed me instantly. That made me want to be a better dad than I was. And I would say I've always focused on being a good dad, always focused on being a good husband. But dude, it 10x the day I lost my mom. I never thought I'd lose my mom at 68 years old. That shook me. That broke me. And for those 3 weeks that I had from the time they found her cancer, she only had 3 weeks left. And I got to spend those whole 3 weeks with her and record every one of those conversations on the voice memo app. So I have every one of my mom's last conversations with me. And I got to experience her for 3 weeks, the last 3 weeks of her life. And that was some of the greatest 3 weeks of my life. It was incredible. Experiences. Wow. What experiences are you doing? And then S is service. How are you giving back?
Yeah.
Are you a tithe payer? How much tithing are you paying to your church?
Yep.
Are you someone that, because of some event that happened in your life, for me, I served a 2-year mission for the LDS church in Honduras. It changed who I was. It changed who I am. And because of that, one of the joys I get is paying for missionaries that don't have money to go on those 2-year mission. Cool, pay for it because it changed my life. So what are you doing to give back, have massive impact so they're not just thinking about yourself? That's why I'm debt free. Everyone's like, you're stupid. You had a mortgage for 2.95%. That's free money. Why would you pay off your home? Well, when I paid off my home, I stopped thinking about myself and I started thinking externally on others. That's the gift of being debt free. It's not about 2.95%. It's about Cody doesn't wake up thinking, I need money today because I need to take care of me. Nope, I'm taken care of. But I do need to take care of others. And when that shift took place, money started multiplying.
Come on.
So there's your riches formula, my friend.
I love it. I love it, Cody. Man, this is so powerful. What does the future hold for you, dude? Like what's the goals right now? I assume everything that you guys run for the businesses are EOS kind of models.
Yeah. We're on the L10. Yes, you name it. We're really big on EOS. Yes. We have our rocks, we have our org charts, we've got, you name it. Yes, we follow EOS. We even had an implementer teach us for a couple of years for Joe Homebuyer, and now it's organization-wide and franchisee-wide. They follow that same system.
I love that. Yeah, it's changed our business entirely, and we're still in the beginning of it, about 2 years into it, but it's been next level. So I took some of the things that you were bringing, and I could definitely tell you're using it. What does the future hold for you guys, though? What's next?
Okay, so what's interesting is you're going to be like, what is the mission? You didn't ask this, but let me tell you just so you can kind of see. The mission for Joe Homebuyer is to build world-class leaders. It has nothing to do with building world-class entrepreneurs or world-class real estate investors. Because if we can build world-class leaders, which means we need to be focused more on leadership than we do on systems and softwares. You can go on YouTube and learn about systems, softwares, and marketing strategies and all the next hype thing. So if that's true, what can we do different? And that is, very few organizations actually maximize time in leadership and growing the person. And it ties in with Jim Rohn, a quote that I love of his. And it says, rarely does a man's income exceed his level of personal development. Meaning, if we can just train these guys to become better individually, money's actually going to be attracted to them, where most people get that wrong. They're chasing money their whole life. Really what we're chasing is personal development, and money will chase us. And that is a 100%. As I have become better, money has multiplied. As
100%.
Joe's have got better in personal development, money and deal flow has multiplied. And it's all to do with us, how much money you want to make. So what's in store for us? It's me continually committed to being 1% better every single day. I'm not perfect. I'm far from it. I know I've got so much fuel in the tank to become someone better, and I'm going to go be better each and every day until the day I die. And what does that look like? I don't know. I didn't know a year ago I was going to be building spec homes.
Yeah.
But God is so good that he perfectly aligned that opportunity in front of me. That I saw it as an opportunity and I took it and I moved forward. So I don't know. I know Joe's going to continue to grow. It's going to be a successful organization, even more than it is today. I know my coaching platform, my one-on-one and my mastermind is going to continue to grow because I love people deeply. I'm not a guru. I'm not a person where they come and like, well, why did I spend money with him? I love my people dearly, deeply, and they love my coaching because of it. I know that's going to grow. And I know I'm going to find opportunities. God's too good. He knows I'm here to not just use it for myself, but to bless other people's lives. And because of that, it has been a multiplier in my life.
I love that. For Joe's home buyers, do you have an exit plan for that or a certain time frame?
It's built that it can have an exit.
That's good.
That's the one thing we get into with coaching. So yes, we know what private equity groups, we built it for what a buy box is for a private equity group. Could that be we never sell? It could be.
Yeah.
I love a thought that Dan Martell always says with Buy Back Your Time. He says, build a company you don't have to retire from.
Yep.
We are doing that with Joe Homebuyer. So that's something we're not, could it happen? Yes, because we're building it right. Does it have to happen? No, because we're building it right. So when people look up Joe Homebuyer, they're like, who owns it? I'm like, that, my friend, was built right. Like, I don't even want them to know I own it. And so it's a beautiful sign when people are like, Joe Homebuyer, what's Joe Homebuyer? I'm like, yeah, sir.
Yeah.
So it's really fun. It's really good. Good things are happening. And I'm excited for what the future brings. And have you read the book Surrender?
Surrender? No.
I think it's Michael Singer. If I remember he had a book called The Untethered Soul, which was his first book. Dude, read Surrender. It just allows you to open up your mindset saying life is happening. Just surrender. Just surrender. Life's going to happen regardless. and everything's here for our benefit. Everything's here to make us better individuals. And so just surrender. And yeah, I'm just surrendering. It's just, there's things that are going to happen in my life, and there's going to be hard things that happen. But guess what? It's all for the gain to make Cody 1% better.
Come on, let's go. Man, Cody, I had such a blast on this episode. I really did. I love where your heart's at, and I'm just grateful for this episode. I know the listeners soaked up a ton as well. How can they get a hold of you?
Yeah. If they wanted to learn more about, and I'll give you a giveaway, if they want to learn more about Joe Homebuyer, joehomebuyerfranchising.com. If you want to learn more about the leadership principles and all that fun stuff, follow me on Instagram. It's one of those things that when you post on Instagram, automatically post on Facebook. I am not in Facebook ever. I don't even have the app on my phone. I've always loved Instagram. It seems better for me and for who my audience is. So Instagram, it's Cody Hofhine. Please look for the blue check mark, because there's 50 of us somehow, Cody Hofhines, and they all have my same page and somehow are able to look just like me, but it's not me. The one with the blue check mark is. And then my giveaway, LOAC, the things of the vitals of your company, to be able to look at 30-second view to know if your company's doing well. A free giveaway, and this could be any business. You'll love it. It's called The Joe. Go to thejoetracker.com/go so we can tie it to your podcast, my friend. I know your podcast is longer words than that, but I love the word.
Yeah.
This is thejoetracker.com/go. What you'll get is this built out PDF version that tracks your leads, your opportunities, your appointments, your contracts, and your closes. So just like Brandon, I love acronyms. Mine's called LOAC, and you're able to find out by typing that in. It'll start building out ratios between the L and the O and the A and the C and the C. And there is a key over here where you should be in your business. And so that gives you now the vitals of your company that you need to be focusing on. And this will help you establish your goals for the next 90 days so that you increase these ratios, that you'll have a key in there. And there's a video that will train you how to do it and everything, free of charge, because we want to help you guys grow your business.
I love that. Thank you so much, guys. Take action on that. Go get that right now. That is, just type in thejoetracker.com/go, and you'll be blessed with that. And thank you, Cody, for hooking that up for the listeners.
It's the least I can do.
Come on. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. You guys are amazing. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. You'll get the newest notification every single Monday. After listening to a few episodes, leave that 5-star review. Love all the feedback lately. You guys are amazing. Keep it coming. And if you are not following us on social media yet, you can go to Brandon Elliott Investments on IG, or our business page at Credit Counsel Elite on IG. If you're looking for funding as well, check out creditcounselelite.com, and we'll give you the whole roadmap on how we've been able to get massive amounts of it, and how you can too. Appreciate you guys. And Cody, you're the man. Appreciate you, man. We'll talk soon. God bless.
This has been another episode of Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, brought to you by Brandon Elliott. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Thanks again for joining.